Okay, welcome everyone. I'm just going to welcome you in while I also go live on Instagram. So welcome if you are listening and watching on IG. Welcome if you're listening and watching on YouTube or on LinkedIn, whatever platform works for you. Okay, so I have a question for you today. Actually, I might just see if I can switch up my no, I don't want to do that. I was going to change the format of this video, but that's okay. We'll just roll with the widescreen today. Okay, so today I want to invite you to think about your decision to become a lawyer in the first place. What are your thoughts about that? How do you feel about that time, whenever it was, however many years ago it was, that you decided, do you know what? I want to be a lawyer. This is what I want to choose for my career. And this is what I'm committing to. And then you went for it. And I want you to notice what your thoughts are about that. Whether you have positive thoughts about that, positive feelings about that, or whether this is a decision that you regret, whether it's a decision that you question, because it's really easy, isn't it? It happens when things get hard, when work feels really tough, when you are trying to progress or get a new role or get a permanent role, get a promotion, and you're getting stuck. It's not working. You're not making progress. When you are just actually exhausted and feeling overwhelmed, it can feel like that's a really easy time for our brains, for your brain to question your decision to become a lawyer in the first place. So today in this session, I want to talk to that. I want to talk to what happens or what will be happening for you when you allow your brain to do that, when you allow your brain to think back to a decision you made years ago and say, that was the wrong decision. I shouldn't have done that. I see this a lot. I hear so many of you saying, oh, some version of, and let me know whether you're watching this live or in the replay, let me know which one of these is you. You say, oh, well, actually, I just went with the flow. I never actually chose this profession. It's just, I fell into it. I always find it amazing when people say that, because I think I was so deliberate and intentional about becoming a lawyer. I was very strategic. I knew it was what I wanted, and I really was deliberate, and I went for it. So I'm always amazed when people say to me, oh, I just fell into it. I think, how can you fall into one of the most amazing professions that there is? But some of you do think that. You may think, on the other hand, that you were pushed into it. So sometimes this can feel like something that comes from pressure from parents or from other family members, the expectation, even from your culture, that actually you didn't make the decision. It wasn't a choice that you had. That might be the experience that you have. Or what else might be? Well, you share with me in the comments reasons that you tell yourself or your brain offers you as to why you ended up being a lawyer and how it wasn't something that you chose. Actually, I know another one that I've heard, which is I thought it would be completely different. I used to joke about how, and this is a standard joke amongst lawyers, how different being a lawyer is day to day now compared to what you see on the TV. So whether you watch Suits, whether you watched back in the day LA Law or Ally McBeal, any of those older shows, they give you a often very misleading idea of what it means to be a lawyer, right? So sometimes the regret is like, oh, I regret that I had a completely different idea of what being a lawyer is, and I shouldn't have made that decision. All right. So we're going to speak to that today, and we're going to speak to it in the context of building confidence. So this live is part 3 of a 5-part mini training that I'm doing live. And I think as I'm doing this and finding my feet again with doing lives, because it's been a while, so I'm a little bit clunky, I'm actually going to repeat this at some stage in the next couple of weeks. So if you're not watching this live, it's not a problem, but look out for my future posts. Make sure you press the bell in my profile so you get notifications when I post, because I'm going to run this again because of how valuable it is and how just getting you on live and engaging with me on where you are with your confidence, your relationship with confidence, and or lack of confidence, and how to build it. I want to get talking to you about that and really being able to give you help and speak to where you're at live in this session, because I'm really like committed to making this like speaking more and more to this. I see confidence as being the number one thing that is holding you back. And I know exactly how to help you change that, how to help you build confidence so you really can be leaning into this role and fulfilling your potential in this role, a role you've worked so hard for, an industry you worked so hard to enter. All right, so this is part 3. So in part 1, I talked generally about how confidence is something you can build. So I come back to that again and again to say that if you are someone who suffers from imposter syndrome, you experience self-doubt all the time, it can feel like you don't have it and other people were like born with it, right? Or like you look at people who are confident and you just think, how is that? I used to do that when I was a lawyer in private practice. I'd see some people, they were so confident and I'd just be like, how? Like, why? You must have been born with it. Whereas what I want to offer you is that confidence can be built. It's not for just the entitled or select few who are born that way, right? It can be built, and I'm going to show you how to build it. And I know, like, I'm going to share a process with you, and this is like step 3 of that process, which is you're going to be able to just apply and implement in your life and watch your confidence grow. You will feel it grow. You will feel yourself changing and becoming more confident as a result of it. So I'm very excited to share this with you. So part 3 then is about one of the building blocks. So there are five building blocks or 5 steps in the process for building confidence in who you are so you can show up to your potential, so you can overcome imposter syndrome when it's triggered in the workplace. So number 1, I spoke to about on Monday in a live, and that was about having confidence in your identity, confidence in your name. I think I was focusing on that session. So number 1 is confidence in your identity. Number 2 is part 2, or the building block number 2 is confidence in where you are. So I spoke to that in a live yesterday. So you can still catch that if you find me on YouTube or on LinkedIn, you'll still be able to find that, and also on IG. As one of my reels. So part 2, or building block 2, step 2, is confidence in where you are, in your role, in your current position. Step 3, building block number 3, is confidence in why you are here. So that brings me back to where we started, which is how you feel, how you think about your decision to become a lawyer, how you ended up here. Okay. And I gave you those 3 reasons why, I haven't given you 3 reasons why this is an issue, but I really invited you to think about what your thoughts are about the decision to become a lawyer. Now I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why regretting becoming a lawyer, or having the thoughts in your brain, I shouldn't have become a lawyer, or I didn't choose it, I was forced into it, or it was expected of me, or I fell into it, it just sort of happened, I just kind of landed here. There are 3 reasons why that is not serving you. 3 reasons why it is undermining your confidence. Reason number 1 is because when you regret a decision, like you regret having entered the profession, you regret a decision that led you to where you are now, what it does, it takes you out of ownership over what happens in your life. If you're like, oh, I just fell into it, or I shouldn't have done it, what it's doing, it's you saying, life happens to me, or my life has happened by accident, or my life has happened by mistake. Yeah, can you hear what the underlying messaging is when your brain offers you, when you have the thought, oh, I just fell into being a lawyer, I didn't really mean to be here. You're taking yourself out of being the person who makes a decision about what they want and then takes action to go and create that. Because if you felt committed to a decision, or you could see the integrity of your past decision to become a lawyer, to enter this profession, if you felt that, then you would have the confidence to know that you are here because you made a decision and then you went to work and you got yourself here. Can you see how that creates so much more confidence and ownership than the thought that, oh, it just happened to me, which is basically what you're saying when you're saying, I just landed in this, or it just happened. Okay, that's the first reason why it's not serving you to regret becoming a lawyer, regret that decision. And the second reason is because of the impact it has on future decisions. If you have made this big decision in your past to enter a profession and then embarked on this journey, on that path, and you're now saying, oh, but that was the wrong decision, that undermines your ability to make future decisions. That questions like the integrity of your decision-making capability. It sends the message to your brain. What will be happening for you is this sense of, oh, well, okay, whatever decision I might be making going forward, oh, it might be the wrong decision. I've made wrong decisions, big wrong decisions in the past. Yeah, can you see how that then creates all sorts of drama about where you go next? I see this a lot of you getting stuck in indecision about what goal it is you want to go for, or whether you want to stay in private practice or move in-house, or whether you want to go for promotion to the next level or stay where you are. And part of the reason for that is because you've lost like connection or trust in your ability to make a decision and know and trust that it's going to be the right one. Like that's where I am now. I didn't used to be. I used to be there, like thinking, not in ownership so much in my career. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but I didn't have that sense of ownership that I could just make a decision, make it happen, and really believe that was the best decision for me. But that's where I am now. That creates so much confidence for me to have real trust that the decision I make is going to be the right decision. I make it the right decision. It's a decision I make. I know I'm making it with the best information that I have at the time. And I can go all in on that decision, trusting that decision. All right. So that's one of the things you're missing out on when you have this regret, when you question your past decision to become a lawyer. Okay. So we don't want that. We don't want you questioning then and feeling underconfident about decisions you make in the future. So that's the second one. The third one is the further reason why this doesn't serve you to regret is because it's your relationship with your decisions in the past are such a missed opportunity to create whatever you want for yourself in the future. It's similar to the trusting yourself to make future decisions, but there's more to it. This is about you knowing you are someone that can just decide that this is what you want for yourself, and knowing you will then decide and get to work and you can create that. I want you to think about how confident, how different you would feel if that was your view of yourself. Like, I am someone who, whatever it is I want, I can just make the decision that I want it, and then I can go out and I can get it and I can make a success of it. Like, that is gold. And that is absolutely a key building block of your confidence, to have confidence in why you're here, right? Because it gives you so much confidence for what you're doing here, and also where you can go. All right. So hopefully with those three things, I've shown you how it's just not serving you to have this thought, to think about your past decision to enter this profession, to become a lawyer. It's not serving you to regret it, to think it happened by accident, to think it was imposed on you. Now, share with me what your experience and what your situation is. I do recognize there are lots of circumstances, there is lots of evidence that might support you to think like that. So one of the things I want to recommend, and I'm now going to go into the 3 recommendations I have for you today. One of the things I want you to recommend that you do is to find the integrity in that past decision. Find the goal, find the value in that past decision. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what I recommend you do. Just 3 suggestions for you to start with this work. But before I do, I want to put it into the context of the broader picture. So what we're focusing right now and what I'm going to be recommending is going to help you build decision integrity. So decision integrity, by building this, what this is going to give you is confidence in why you're here. Confidence, in other words, in why you're a lawyer, why you're in this firm, why you're in this position, all of that, just confidence in the why. And this is especially important when you suffer from imposter syndrome, because so much of that experience involves questioning how you got here, like why you're here, thinking your success was down to luck. You having seen the integrity of your past decisions and that you made them, you then went to work to create, like to make them real and to create the result you have now of being a lawyer, like knowing that is going to really, it's going to be such a powerful answer to your brain when it offers you the thought, oh, I shouldn't be here, or my success is down to luck. Okay. So what we're doing is we're giving your brain somewhere else to go in those moments when imposter syndrome is triggered. Yeah. And so this is the work we do in Confident Black Lawyers, my online confidence building program for Black lawyers, where you learn to build confidence in who you are so you can overcome imposter syndrome wherever it shows up. And it will show up at different levels as you get further and further and progress and get into, you are going to be in whiter and whiter rooms, right, as a Black lawyer. So what we want is to build the skill of overcoming imposter syndrome when it's triggered. And what that's going to do is, like, the confidence that you have that enables you to overcome imposter syndrome in any scenario. It means you will be able to walk into any room. You'll be able to speak to anyone. You will be able to face or tackle any project, knowing you can override your imposter syndrome. You've got the skill of like having confidence in who you are that gives you the confidence to get to work, to do your best work. Whereas previously, imposter syndrome would take over and you would be caught up in being a perfectionist, overworking, overthinking, wanting to play small. Building confidence in who you are helps you override that so you can show up, okay? Show up at your highest potential, which is what we want. All right. So confidence in why you are here. Here are my recommendations for you to go away and get started on this. Number one, identify 3 decisions that led you to where you are now. If you want, you can just pick one, right? Pick one decision that led you to where you are right now. My recommendation number 2, I mean, already in number 1, it's going to get you reflecting back, right? Thinking, yeah, where did it all start? When did I first have that idea to become a lawyer? Like, when was that? Where was that? The second recommendation is I want you to think about, like, what your thoughts are about those decisions. So it's a little bit like I invited you to do at the very beginning. I want you to write them down. I want you to write down digitally, manually, whatever you prefer, but get it out of your brain so you can look at it. Write down what your thoughts are about that decision. Do you love that decision? Was it the best decision you ever made? Or is it a decision, oh, I wish I'd made a different decision. That was the wrong decision. I didn't choose this. I was forced into this. Let's get all of those thoughts that you have probably lurking in the back of your brain. It may not necessarily be forefront. And actually, even it's so important that if it is lurking in the back of your brain, that you catch it, because it will be impacting how you're showing up. It will be impacting how confident you feel. Okay, so let's get that all down on paper. So step 1 is to think of 1, 2, or 3 decisions that led you to where you are now, right? Then I want you to write down what you think about those decisions and notice, like, how positive are they? What negative thoughts am I carrying around about this decision? And then the third bit, which is going to be the most interesting, potentially for some of you the most challenging, is I want you to answer the question, how was this, so for each decision, how was this the best decision I could have made? How was this the best decision ever? All right. Now, if you are someone who's been regretting that decision, your first thought is going to be, Caroline, well, it wasn't the best decision. So how am I supposed to answer that question? And this is the work. This is the challenge. The challenge is to find integrity in that decision. By way of an example, let me tell you how it worked really strongly for me. Thinking about my decision to become a lawyer, I can remember very clearly that I cared so much, like what was important to me at the time was that I enter a profession that gave me financial security. I wanted a profession where I would have the opportunity to progress. I wanted a profession. Well, I wanted a profession. Like, I wanted a role. I wanted to enter an industry, and I wanted to have a role that commanded, like, respect, a role that was an accomplishment, an achievement, and would require accomplishment from me, and how I could keep accomplishing things. Like, accomplishment is important to me. Financial security is important to me. The ability to progress is important to me. The ability to connect with other smart people, that is important to me. To do something that is challenging and interesting, that is important to me. And most importantly, perhaps, was to do something that gave me a position, like the possibility, like a position of influence. That's what I wanted to say. Like, I always knew growing up that, like, the circumstances in which, particularly growing up in a very I won't beat around the bush, like quite a racist environment, like knowing that if I had the knowledge and the education and the status and the influence of somebody like a lawyer, I would be treated differently. I would command more respect. I would be able to actually have a positive influence on those around me and on the culture around me. So those were like my values. So if you are struggling to answer the question, how is this the best decision ever? I want to invite you to look to your values, because that's what really this all stacks up to, which is your decision to become a lawyer. So why you are here right now, where you are, the reason why you're here is because there are some values that you have. There are values that you have that becoming a lawyer and entering this industry, they meets those values, right? There are values that you have that drove that decision. And those values count. Those values are values within you. It represents what was important to you. So usually what's happening when we're regretting a past decision is we're disconnected from the values that are important to us that drove us to make that decision. And what we want to do, and this exercise is those 3 kind of suggested exercises, what they're doing is reconnecting you to why you chose to be a lawyer, to enter this profession in the first place, in a way that connects you to your values, what drives you and who you are, and also in a way that, as I said, gives you that confidence to make future decisions, and you can draw on those values to inform your future decisions, and in a way that gives you like that sense of ownership over your career in life, that knowing that you chose this, that you are someone who can make decisions and create an outcome for yourself, make decisions about where you want to go and take yourself there. So this, my friends, has been a short, like mini training on really building confidence in why you're here. Because having confidence in why you're here, the decision that you took and why you took that decision to get here, and all of the action that you then took as a result of that decision to get yourself here, that is a gold mine of confidence for you. If you can connect to that decision, connect to the values that drove that decision, it is going to build so much trust and sufficiency and confidence in you, in who you are, right? That it's going to empower you going forward. You're going to show up so much more confidently today and going forwards after today. So confidence in why you're here is confidence building block number 3 of 5. I'm going to be back tomorrow to talk about confidence in how you got here. That's what we're building as step 4 in the confidence building process. So all of this I teach you, this confidence building process, I teach this to you in Confident Black Lawyers. As I said, this is my new, I'm so excited to share it with you. It's my new online program for Black lawyers at every level. You will need confidence at every level of your career. Your imposter syndrome can show up at every level of your career as you get into bigger and bigger rooms, whiter and whiter rooms. So we want this. We want confidence in who we are so that we can navigate the challenges of being Black lawyer in a white world. And so you can be showing up to your potential and you can keep progressing this career you've worked so hard to build. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're joining me on the replay, please share any comments, any thoughts. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And look out for my announcement for the next live, where I will be talking about confidence building block number 4. That's it from me. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.